Great, the show's starting.
Come on, just trust me. Oh, trust you, like with the dollar oysters.
I don't think those were oysters.
You survived, so...
Wait, we can't go that way.
Watch this. They'll think we're VIP.
Wow, he does think we're VIP.
And backstage. Trust me now?
I never doubted you.
I did for a second, but it's gone now. I trust
The
you.
all-new Sienna. Toyota, let's go places.
Check out this one. Long hair, loves to hike and plays Frisbee.
What is he, a Labrador?
So should I meet him?
You're not that adventurous.
Yes, I am. Try me.
Okay. Jump into that lake.
I'll do it.
Let's all do it. I'm in. This is crazy. You coming?
Seriously? It is way too comfortable in here.
This is crazy.
The all-new Sienna. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome to our final session at the 2021 Lewisville Paraswimming World Series. Our first event tonight is the women's 50-meter butterfly. This first heat will have sport class S5, S6, and S7. Swimming in lane 2, Amanda Sheward from the US. Swimming in lane 4, Megan Giuffreda from the United States. Swimming in lane 6, Wendy Locatelli from the United States. This is the women's final in the 50-meter butterfly. We got 50 butterfly up here in the very first event of the final. And we're contesting 3 different sport classes. These were the only 3 to advance from the preliminary heats this morning. Sometimes that's due to other athletes scratching, but then when we have multi-classes in a final, we'll put a lane in between them. So that's why you see that empty lane in between there. So we've got quite a separation here in their swimming, in their speeds, because we've got a separation in sport classes. It's not always the case, but in this particular heat, it is. Megan Giuffreda coming in first in the heat. All 3 of these women will be winning their event. 43.77 is her time. In lane 2, that's Amanda Sheward in 48.78. Now we have Wendy Locatelli with about 15 meters to go. See, she's keeping her butterfly symmetrical. Symmetrical left and right, so her arms are coming around at the same time. And they're clearing the surface, and that's important for the butterfly within the rules. And Wendy's time, 1:28.69. That's a little off what she did this morning. Heat 2. Approaching the blocks is heat 2 of the women's 50-meter butterfly. This is a sport class S6. Swimming in lane 2, Valeria Lopez Gomez from Mexico. Swimming in lane 3, Sofia Herzog from the United States. Swimming in lane 4, Elizabeth Marks from the United States. Swimming in lane 5, also from the United States, Abby Nardella. Swimming in lane 6, Sarah Vargas Blanco from the United States. And in lane 7, Carla Bravo Gonzalez from Mexico. This is the women's 50-meter butterfly final, sport class S6. Had a big swim this morning out of Ellie Marks. She went 38:25, which was an American record, as well as an America's record, which is the International Paralympic Committee is divided into continents, and the Americas makes up North and South America. She swam the fastest time in history this morning for her sport class S6 in a 38:25. You see, that's Ellie out in front there in this shot, swimming at quite a fast tempo. And she'll have a tapper there, come in for her last stroke. 37:10, making that time and that record even faster. Of course, that's unofficial. That has to be okayed. It has to be ratified, and that will happen before the end of the swim meet. An outstanding swim for Ellie Marks there in lane 4. Heat 3. Approaching the blocks now is our third heat. This is the S7 sport class for the women's 50-meter butterfly. In lane 3, Naomi Somayera Manduanjo from Mexico. In lane 4, Julia Gaffney from the United States. In lane 5, Mallory Wegeman from the United States. In lane 6, Nesbeth Van Vasquez Mieja from Mexico. And in lane 7, Abby Gase from the United States. This is the final for the women's 50-meter butterfly sport class S7. Okay. See a coach stabilizing their athlete at the start, and then they'll pull their hands away at the start so they can get in on their own. Now this is a heat made up of S7 sport class. When we get into a little bit longer events this evening, I'll have an explanation of what those sport classes consist of. It looks like this is Mallory Wegeman with about 5 meters to go. She's got about 2 strokes left and hits the wall in 34:53, which is certainly faster than she went this morning at 35:97. Second in there in lane 4 was Julia Gaffney. And third was Mandujano from Mexico. The next race will be the men's 50-meter butterfly multi-class. In this race, we will contest sport class S5 and sport class S7. In lane 2, Abbas Karimi from the refugee Paralympic team. In lane 5, Evan Austin from the United States. In lane 6, Aiden Williams from the United States. This is heat 1 of the men's 50-meter butterfly, sport classes S5 and S7. They're making sure the pool is all the way clear on the other end. The athletes from the previous heat are exiting the pool. The athletes down here at the start end are getting themselves ready, shaking it out. Coach there from the US is going to give a little stabilization there for Evan. And then Evan's good to go. He just likes to be there just in case. Down on the bottom of your screen, you've got Abbas Karima from the refugee Paralympic team. Butterfly is his specialty. He also can get pretty fast through the 200 and 400 freestyle, as we've already seen in this meet. I see Evan really pressing forward there in his S7 race. Evan hitting the wall there in lane 5. Looks like 30.07, which is just a little bit faster than he swam this morning. Great swim for all three of these guys. Heat 2. Next race this evening is the men's S6 sport class 50-meter butterfly. Swimming in lane 2 from the United States, Morgan Ray. Swimming in lane 3, Raul Martinez Valdez from Mexico. In lane 4, Yurzhan Salmingariev from Kazakhstan. Swimming in lane 5, Zachary Shattuck from the United States. In lane 6, Patricio Quinones Cabriez from Mexico. And in lane 7, Connor Giofreda from the United States. This is the men's final 50-meter butterfly, S7. S6. Pardon my mistake there. This is the S6 class final. These guys step up and get ready to go here. As they get away, you can see some dolphin kicking. You can dolphin kick all the way out to those red marks on the lane lines. We don't see that a lot in some of these lower numbered sport classes. We may get a little closer as we get up around the S10 to 13 to 14 in the fly. Looks like Yurzhan from Kazakhstan is out there in the lead in lane 4. He takes this heat 32.81, followed by Zachary Shattuck from the United States in 34.03. So now we have a little pause in the action. The 50s are finished, and the timers will be heading back to the start end of the pool for the 400-meter freestyles. Our next race of the evening is the women's 100-meter butterfly. This first heat will be multi-class S9 and S10. Swimming in lane 2 is Casey Freeman from the United States. Swimming in lane 3 is Momo Sutton from the United States. In lane 4, Tatiana Orsburn from the United States. In the S10 race, Sarah Bofinger in lane 6. and Gabby Farinas from the United States in lane 7. And Molly Barron from the United States is swimming in the S8 sport class in this event. That's a late ad. We just got that from the admin table. Molly Barron there in lane 8. Tell her thanks. You tell her thank you. Thank you. We're waiting for all of our timers to get set. They had to make the journey down from the turn end of the pool. I think they're up and ready to go. Now the officials are just making sure that everything's set and ready for the 100-meter butterfly. So they'll blow that long whistle, which basically just calls the athletes to the blocks. And then there'll be a series of whistles that calls them up onto the blocks. We're going a little bit longer dolphin kick there. It's like Gabby Farinas out in front there in the S10 race. The 3 swimmers grouped together in lanes 2, 3, and 4 are swimming in the S9 class. And that's Momo Sutton leading that group. Gabby Farinas coming in at the 50. 36.92 for her split. And just behind her at 37.67 is Tatiana Orsburn. Like Gabby Farinas is going to hold on to her lead in her race, and Tatiana Orsburn in hers. Here comes Gabby into the finish with a time of 1:21.45. She was 1:19 this morning. So I believe she swam the 100 fly and the 400 free this morning, so they might have a little energy deficit going on the day. And that's Tatiana Orsburn getting into the wall at 1:35.71. Casey Freeman just behind her at 1:41.63. Great effort by all these athletes. They've been waiting for well over a year to do some racing at a big swim meet. Molly Barron comes in lane 8 there with a 2:00.82. Our second heat of the women's 100-meter butterfly finals is the S8 sport class. Swimming in lane 3 from the United States, Haven Shepard. Swimming in lane 4 for the United States, Jessica Long. And swimming in lane 5 from Colombia, Laura Gonzalez Rodriguez. This is the final of the women's 100-meter butterfly sport class S8. She's all set up for a track start there, using that wedge on the bottom, on the back of the starting block. It's like Jessica Long didn't get away quite as fast, but is taking the race on pretty well here. It's about halfway down her first 25 meters with great form. Jessica Long had a great 400 freestyle today, swimming, I believe it was around a 4:42 or 4:44, almost an even split swim, which is a big ask and certainly near or at her best time, lifetime. She's out in 32:85 in the 100 butterfly, followed by Lauren Rodriguez from Colombia, 37:53, and third there, 40:72, is Haven Shepard. Jessica's got about 10 meters to go here in this 100 butterfly final. She was 1:12.04 this morning, certainly under that at a 1:09.93. Lauren Gonzalez Rodriguez from Colombia at a 1:20.02, just off her time, a 1:19 this morning. Haven Shepard coming in at a 1:26, which is almost 4 seconds faster than she swam this morning. Our next race is the women's 100-meter butterfly S9 sport class. Swimming in lane 2 from the United States, Elise Morley. In lane 3, Kelly Prochaska from the United States. In lane 4, that's Lizzie Smith from the United States. In lane 5, Summer Schmidt from the United States. And in lane 6 from the United States, Natalie Sims. This is the women's 100-meter butterfly final, sport class S9. Our women up on the blocks and getting set here. A reminder in the venue, taking pictures is fine from the stands, from the deck, other than behind the starting blocks. But there is no flash photography allowed at the start of the race. I do a little double duty as the venue announcer. We got Heat 3 going on here in the S9 final. Looks like Lizzie Smith has got a nice lead there. Lizzie Smith swims for Coach Ian Crocker. You may recognize that name as an American Olympian with some nice medals that he can wear around his neck. Ian Crocker's doing a wonderful job with her. This is Lizzie Smith. Got about 5 meters to go. Lizzie went 1:09.7 this morning, and she's 1:08.6 this evening. A great effort, great swim, and a great result. There's Elise Morley there in lane 2, finishing out the heat. Our next race is the women's 100-meter butterfly. In this race, we are contesting the S10 sport class. In lane 2, Audrey Kim from the United States. In lane 3, Jasmine Greenwood from Australia. In lane 4, Michaela Jenkins from the United States. And in lane 5, Brianna Espinoza Mata from Mexico. This is the women's 100-meter butterfly S10 sport class final. That's Audrey Kim behind the block there. She was just making sure that that back starting block fin was nice and tight. Very rarely do those ever slip. Right next to her there, you see Greg Toll stabilizing his swimmer and then releasing as soon as that start happens. Swimmers need to get started on the race on their own. They see some coaches every once in a while holding on, getting a little stabilization on the blocks when it's needed. But they're not allowed to give him any nudge or any kind of push. And you saw Greg just press his hands away as soon as that start happened. His swimmer from Australia, Jasmine Greenwood, was leading this heat. Looks like Michaela Jenkins kind of took over with about 3 meters left in that first 50 with a split of 31:30. Jasmine was just behind. It's still a good race. There's a lot of different energies coming out of an athlete in the 100 butterfly. And until you've got about 4 or 5 meters left, you really can't call a close race. I think this one's solid. And it looks like Jasmine is gonna touch first. She comes in first in a time of 1:07:36. I'm sorry, that's Michaela that won that heat. I had that backwards. Here's Brianna finishing there. Brianna's from Mexico, lane 5. And she didn't trigger the pad. You see those lines across there. But they got her time. Heat 5. Our next race this evening is the women's 100-meter butterfly final, sport class S12, S13, and S14. In lane 1, Michaela Neitzel from the United States. In lane 2, Becca Myers from the United States. In lane 3, Gia Pergolini from the United States. And in lane 4, Martha Ruther from the United States. Swimming in the S14 class, Paige Leonard from Australia. And in lane 7, Leslie Chikoki from the United States. This is the women's 100-meter butterfly final. We'll have a couple of good races here. You can see that when we have a multi-sport class final, you can see that the athletes absolutely get an opportunity to race each other from sport class to sport class. And that's always good. Any kind of competition that we can help create to make these athletes faster, we want to. When we do have different sport classes in the same heat, look like lane 6 there, Paige Leonard from Australia in the lead of the overall heat. What I was saying is when we have multiple sport classes in a final, we generally always put a blank lane in between them. Paige is still hanging on to the overall swim lead. Here we come in, just a few strokes left, and it looks like lane 2, Becca Myers, had that last couple of strokes. Even though when we think we can call it 4 or 5 meters out, every once in a while there's a little push of tempo, just like Becca just showed us, and she took that heat. Our next race will be the first heat of the men's 100-meter butterfly. Swimming in lane 4 from the United States in the S10 class, Owen McNear. And in lane 6 in the S12 class, Evan Wilkerson, also from the United States. This is a multi-class final in the men's 100-meter butterfly. We had a third swimmer scheduled to swim in this heat. He must have been a late scratch. He must have done that in plenty of time and let the officials know, because we're moving right forward without him on the blocks. So we have 2 different sport classes here, S10 and S12, for the men's 100 butterfly. It's our first of 4 heats. Owen McNear is out. I had a little mix-up in my program. I apologize for that. Sorry about that. Looks like we've got Owen McNear there coming in at a 1:14.01, 2 seconds faster this morning. You saw from that hand pump. Obviously, he's pretty happy about that swim and that time. Heat 2. Approaching the blocks is our second heat of the men's 100 butterfly final. We have a multi-sport class heat here in S8 and S9. In lane 2, Joey Peppersack from the United States. In lane 3, Robert Griswold from the United States. Swimming in the S9 class, Esteban Zamora in lane 5 from Costa Rica. In lane 6, William Martin from Australia. And in lane 7 from the United States, David Gelfand. This is our second heat and the final of the 100-meter butterfly. We've got 2 classes swimming here, the S8 and S9 class. The S8 class is made up of swimmers who have an amputation of one arm. They are eligible to compete in this sport class. Also, athletes with significant restrictions across hip, knee, and ankle joints could also compete in this sport class. In S9, a class with a slightly lesser disability, athletes in this sport class, for example, swim with joint restrictions in one leg or with double below the knee amputations. You can see here Robert Griswold. I'm sorry, that's Esteban Zamora. William Martin takes the heat in lane 6 there with a 59.22. Faster than he was this morning, but closer to his original entry time in that S8, S9 class. Can they vacate? Our next race is Heat 3 of the men's 100-meter butterfly final. In the S10 class, in lane 2, Cesar Guerrero Fonseca from Mexico. In lane 3, Ty Dutcher from the United States. In lane 4, Yahir Perez Jimenez from Mexico. Swimming in the S12 class, in lane 6, William Rankine from the United States. And the S13 sport class, David Abrams from the United States. This is a multi-class final in the men's 100-meter butterfly. Got the multi-class here. S10, S12, and S13, and you can see we have the lane between them. Lane 8, David Abrams. We saw him in the breaststroke races this morning and last night. Show us almost a world record. Looks like he's out pretty fast in this race as well, representing the S13 sport class. Looks like he may take the overall swim here. Ty Dutcher over in lane 3 looks like he's going to come in just behind David. David is 103.75. Little off what he did this morning. And then Ty Dutcher 104.61. Also just a little bit off what he did this morning. Our final heat of the men's 100-meter butterfly. This is the S14 sport class. In lane 2, Jeff Lovett of the United States. In lane 3, Wong Sang Cho of Korea. In lane 4, Lawrence Sapp of the United States. In lane 5, from Australia, Benjamin James Hance. In lane 6, from the United States, Javier Parker Egbert. And in lane 7, from Puerto Rico, Javier Hernandez Rodriguez. This is the men's 100 butterfly, sport class S14. We saw Lawrence Sapp have a great swim this morning and a wonderful celebration after a best time. And looking for that out of anybody this evening, but it looks like we might see that from him again. In his first 50, he's out in 25:75, which is certainly faster than he was this morning. We'll see if he can hold that. May not be able to hold that pace, but as everybody slows, it's a matter of, and many times in a butterfly race, it's a matter of who slows down the least in that last 25 meters. Looks like he's making a move here. Looks like Wang Sang Cho from Korea is really pressing him in, but I think he's going to be able to hold him off with just about 3 strokes to go. That's Lawrence Sapp with a time of 58:44, about 0.2 of a second faster than he was this morning. Wang Sang Cho looks like 59:46, just a couple of hundredths faster than he went this morning. Our next race this evening is the women's 400-meter freestyle multi-class. We will have S6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 in this race. Swimming in lane 1 from the United States, Momo Sutton. In lane 2, Molly Barron from the United States. Swimming for the United States in lane 3, Tatiana Orsburn. Also swimming for the United States in lane 4, Sarah Bofinger. Representing the United States, Casey Freeman in lane 5. Representing the United States in lane 6, Meredith Koch. In lane 7, Megan Giaffreda from the United States, and Amanda Sheward, also from the United States, in lane 8. This is a multi-class women's 400-meter freestyle final. So we've got an all-American heat here, but just about every different class you can think of. 8 lanes and 7 classes represented. Lane 3 is leading at the very first 50. That's Tatiana Orsburn. In this competition, she's representing Eagles Swim Club. And as they kind of have that first 50 jitters worked out, now they kind of lengthen out their stroke, try to be a little conservative with their legs, because they're just approaching their first of 4 100s. Lane 3, that's Tatiana Orsburn, out in a 1:19.83, followed close at 1:21.27. That's Sarah Bofinger. See Casey Freeman there from Yoda. That's the YMCA of the Triangle area, I believe, in North Carolina. Our leader out there in lane 3 seems to be slowly lengthening out her gap. That's Tatiana Orsburn, 15-year-old from the Eagle swim team. At the 150 mark, she's at 2:05.9. And see the gap here between the different swimmers from the different sport classes. It really is this heat in and of itself is a good sail for why classification is so important. We were be at the Tokyo Paralympic Games, this would be a single heat all the way across of the same sport class, and you'd see a much tighter configuration of the swimmers, which we'll also see in some of the later heats. We have 6 heats of this race tonight in the women, and 4 heats in the men's race. It's actually a few more heats than we had this morning because they were all multi-class finals. Tatiana Orsburn swam a 5:48 this morning. And she's settling into a pretty strong pace. You can see she's doing a little bouncing. Sometimes that can be typical of a swimmer swimming a race that's past 200 meters. Distance swimmers aren't always the smoothest in the water. You can see that she's getting some good deep power out in the front of her stroke there. Next to her, Sarah Bowfinger from Swim Uphill in California, swimming with a lot more efficient stroke, but she's not swimming quite as powerfully, but you can see that she's quite a bit more efficient with her swim. Sometimes efficiency costs you speed. That's what we're seeing here. So they've got 100 to go as the rest of our heat is making their way to their 300 split. I believe that's Meredith Koch in lane 6. Also a little bounce, but she's keeping her stroke nice out in front. Good turn, gets away pretty far. I'm sure her coach is happy with that turn distance. She comes up and gets a bite of air after her turn. We've got Tatiana Orsburn has made her last turn. She's got about 35 meters to go here. And she's definitely swimming this with strength rather than a long, efficient stroke. And it's working. There she comes into the wall here. That's lane 3, Tatiana Orsburn. Just about 5 meters to go as she passes under the flags. Get a nice long, little short finish there. 5:42.47. She was 5:48 this morning, so she certainly should be happy with that. Sarah Bowfinger, second there. 5:54.76. She swam a little bit faster this morning at a 5:40. Casey Freeman from Yoda just came in there in lane 5, at third place in the heat, 6:08.94. A number of these women are winning their event, even though they're coming in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th in the heat, with it being a multi-sport class. In lane 1 there is Momo Sutton, swims from Florida. She went 6:32 this morning, 6:25 tonight. She's going to be happy with that. A lot of times you don't show a lot of happiness after a 400 freestyle because it just plain hurts. Amanda Sheward from Umley swam 7:07 this morning, and she's got about a little under 15 meters, about 10 meters to go in her race. That's Amanda Sheward. 7:07 this morning. I think she's going to get right underneath that or right on top of it. 7:07.19. She went a little over half a second faster this evening. Heat 2. Our second heat of the women's 400-meter freestyle final is the S6 sport class. In lane 4, from the United States, Sofia Herzog. Swimming in lane 5, Vianney Trejo Delgadillo from Mexico. And in lane 6, also from Mexico, Valeria Lopez Gomez. This is the S6 sport class 400-meter freestyle final. Sofia swims with the Salida Spartans in Colorado. She also spends some time with the US Paralympic resident team at the United States Olympic and Paralympic Training Center. It's not been possible to go back and forth between the two places this past year. A lot of these athletes have been out of the water doing a lot of their training on dry land as pools around the country and around the world have been opened and closed and opened and closed. Just another check mark in the resiliency box for all of these athletes. They're so excited to be able to race this week. First time in over a year for some of them. Sofia goes out to an early lead. Some of these swimmers swimming with a little bit higher tempo that you normally see, but something that factors into that is a shorter stature or a longer stature. You'll see a little bit slower tempo in a taller, longer swimmer. See a little bit higher tempo in a swimmer that's a little bit shorter. You can see that stroke tempo on Sofia. That's something she definitely works on. That tempo is going to remain pretty constant throughout this race. And with her tempo being pretty constant, her splits will do the same thing, her 50 splits. They're about 15 meters away from their first 100 in the 400. Sofia was 6:15 this morning, and Vianney from Mexico next to her was 6:08. So Vianney's about on track to do the time she did this morning by the math of it. That's certainly too early to make a prediction like that. Sofia's going to probably hold her splits pretty even. So we'll have a little back and forth probably most of the race until one of them really wants to put the hammer down and try to separate. Lopez Gomez there from Mexico, keeping her stroke nice and long and in control. As they say, steady wins the race. It doesn't always win the race, but it certainly feels better. Vianney has the edge still in lane 5 at the 150 at 2:14.14, and Sophie's just behind her at 2:14.71. It looks like Vianney Delgadillo from Mexico is trying to press away. You can see she gets Sofia in her sights when she breathes to her right, and she can see Sofia. They're definitely paying attention to each other. That just makes for better best times. They come into the 200 turn at 3 minutes and 3:01. Unless one of them makes a move here, they're going to keep themselves pretty close and in this race. And Sophia doesn't have quite as fast a flip turn, so you can see each 50 she plays a little bit of catch up. So she's actually swimming a faster 400, and Vianney is actually turning a faster 400. They come in here to the 250. Looks like Vianney's holding on to her lead, 3:47.14. Sophia at 3:48.69, just behind. But again, you'll see Sophia start to make a move up towards her again after that turn. Just behind her feet. I think Vianney's made a little bit of a stroke tempo change. She's increased her tempo a little bit, probably hoping that that can make a difference. Get in Sophia's head a little bit. Sophia, you can see even after she comes off of a breath to her right, she does look a little bit over to her left to see where her competitor is. At the 300, 4:34 and 4:36, so you can see there's a little bit more separation, but you can also see that Sophia is determined to keep this close or go up and take over the race. It looks like she's made a big move in this 50 so far, just in that first 20, 25 meters. Really great racing tonight in Lewisville, Texas at the World Para Swimming World Series. This meet being hosted by the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. The Associate Director Aaron Popovich, if you know that name, then you know something about the sport of swimming. One of the most decorated Paralympians, not just in the history of the US, but in the world of all time. Aaron's running a great event for all these athletes. Speaking of a great event, look at this race that's happening. They are going neck and neck. I think you'll see Sophia. Yep, there comes her stroke tempo again. She's gonna increase her kick speed here. You can see her feet getting a little bit more boiling water on her feet there. And this is a battle of wills. It doesn't matter who's trained harder, this goes down to who wants to hit the wall first. They both certainly do. Vianney has a slight edge there with about 5 meters to go. And it looks like it's going to be Vianney just barely in a 6:05.29 over 6:05.88. And that's a 10-second drop from Sophia's swim this morning. And you can see as she's really looking for some air, that's what it feels like when you drop 10 seconds from what you did in the morning. Vianney feels pretty good about that. Rightly so. That was a great race. Went back and forth the whole way. We still have another swimmer coming in. Valeria Gomez from Mexico over in lane 6. She's got about 15 meters to go in this swim. You can see she's really kept that long stroke. Now she's got a little bit more kick than she did earlier in the race. A very smart way to finish. Just about 5 meters to go. She goes under the flags. She was 6:54 this morning. She goes 7:02 this evening in her final. Heat 2. Heat 3. Our next race is the women's 400-meter freestyle final for the S7 class. Swimming in lane 3, Ahalia Ledenberger from the United States. Also from the United States, swimming in lane 4, Mackenzie Cohen. Swimming in lane 5 for the United States, Julia Gaffney. Mallory Wegeman swimming in lane 6 for the United States. And in lane 7, Estefany Gutierrez Llanas from Mexico. This is the women's 400-meter freestyle final, S7 sport class. Previous heat is cleared, and these women are getting their final touches ready, getting their goggles on, making sure those caps are nice and tight. Sometimes that's a double check of the equipment. Sometimes that's just nervous energy. Getting themselves positioned to the starting blocks. You see a couple of coaches either aiding with a chair or getting ready to help with some balance. Other thing to notice, there's not just the starting sound, but that front white little stripe there on the front of that starting block, it actually has a series of strobe lights in it that's also going to go off when the starter starts the race. Their little administrative double check here. I think she may have realized she might be in the next heat. So we like to always double check. The timers generally check, but in this COVID times, they keep their distance there. You see the timers way in the back of that bulkhead. So the officials take over and make sure that we have everybody in the correct lane. As we just have swimmers in lanes 3 through 7 in this race. See some coaches providing some extra balance up on that slanted block. As soon as they start, coaches pull their hands back so the swimmer gets off the block on their own. You see some different stroke rates there early. Mackenzie Cohn has a little bit more of a straight arm recovery freestyle. You see that in a lot of sprint races, but I can tell you with Mackenzie Cohn, if you're racing, it's a sprint race. She just goes, and she goes the whole way, and she goes full bore. So she's a formidable competitor, somebody you don't necessarily want to be close to in a close race, because she can just keep going. Julia Gaffney is leading there in lane 5. She swims with the US resident team in Colorado Springs. Mackenzie Cohen there. Going to be tough to stop, tough to catch. I think she's pretty determined in this race. A lot of the American women had really good preliminary 400 freestyles this morning. She was certainly happy with hers, and I think she's going to do a little bit better tonight. This time of year in the Tokyo Paralympic Games year, you see a lot of athletes that are highly experienced who could just kind of hold back and wait for their country's trials. But you get a swimmer like Mackenzie that doesn't do that sort of stuff. She's sending a statement. She does that every time she races. She's letting these women know in this sport class that she came here to race today. She turns there at the 150 in 152.95. We'll see what her halfway split is. And from a coach's mind, you just double that halfway split. And if they're on for a perfect race, if they're within 3 or 4 seconds of double their split, then you know you had an outstanding effort. You can just see the work that she's putting out there. She's got Julia Gaffney there in lane 5. Just above her on your screen, there's Julia, swimming with a a pretty balanced stroke. See, she's always got a stroke, an arm out in front of her. That helps her with her balance. Her balance from front to back, so she doesn't have that back leg is not deep because she's always holding some weight out in front of her. If you think of her body like a scale, she's got she's pressing forward. Back to the bigger race, you see what Mackenzie's doing, and then Ahalia over in 3. Looks like she's swimming a little bit more relaxed than Julia. So that can definitely be a threat towards the end of the swim. If she's using less energy early and she stays within reach, that's a dangerous thing for a competitor. She's got a nice long stroke out in front. See, she pulls that hand and arm back in almost a straight line, so she's getting pretty great efficiency there. But you know, it's going to take something that I don't think anybody's capable of as far as coming up to what Mackenzie's putting out here. (3:51.11). She's within what she did this morning, and she was very happy with that swim. You see that race kind of shaping up there behind Mackenzie, with Ahalia and Julia. There's a Stephanie Llanes from Mexico. She's holding a steady pace for herself. She doesn't have that ability to get away from those walls quite as fast as a couple of the others, and that can add up over a longer distance race. But you can see she's got a great effort. She's holding a very steady stroke rate throughout this race. Right next to her, Mallory Wegeman. She was 5:44 this morning. I think she was pretty happy with that swim. So Mackenzie's running away with this, deservedly so. She was 5:05 this morning. And she might be a little above that. There's 5:05 passing by right now, but the big race that's going on is just behind her with about 15 meters to go. Is you see that what I had talked about earlier is that efficient stroke left Ahalia with some energy, and it paid off. The 5:19.69, 5:19.76. They're within hundredths of a second. It's a very smart approach as far as how she used her energy. Here's Mallory Wegeman coming into lane 6. Mallory was 5:44 this morning and 5:39 tonight, so even a faster swim, a little bigger effort out of Mallory this evening in the 400 freestyle. You see people trying to smile after a 400. It's a tough ask, because that race is pretty grueling. Estefany Gutierrez Llanes from Mexico. She was 7:13 this morning. She's got about 52 meters to go here. She gets into her turn and gets away from the wall. And you can see, if you can see it, I can see it. I may have a little bit more experienced coach's eye, but you can see she has made a stroke tempo change. She knows she's in that last 50, and there's nothing that a swimmer wants more at this point than to be finished with the race. So she's, whether it's motivation of race strategy or motivation just to finish the race, you can see a little bit faster swimming from her now. And she's picked up some kick speed. Our coach may ask her after this race, where was your kick earlier? That's probably what I would ask if she was one of my swimmers, but an outstanding overall 400 effort. Smart swim, very efficient early, and now she's bringing that great finish energy. 7:13 this morning. She's 7:14, so she's pretty close to that same time this evening. Great effort from these women in the 400 freestyle. Heat 4. Next up is the women's 400-meter freestyle. This is an S8 sport class race. In lane 2, Natalia Gonzalez Gomez from Mexico. In lane 3, Paola Ruvalcaba Nunez from Mexico. Swimming in lane 4 from the United States, Jessica Long. Swimming in lane 5 from the United States, Morgan Stickney. From Australia, in lane 6, Ella Jones. Swimming from Canada, Abby Tripp in lane 7. And in lane 8, Sarah Miranda Corrales from Costa Rica. This is the women's 400-meter freestyle sport class S8 final. Really good racing going on tonight. We'll get that long whistle, and that's their cue to step up. Getting a little balance aid there in lanes 6 and 7 from their coaches or team support. And you'll see their hands just pull away as soon as they start, so those athletes can get in the pool of their own accord. If you've been watching these live casts that we've been putting out, you see I have been talking a little bit about that Australian technique of pressing out in front of the heat early. Usually that first 20 meters there's a little tempo push to get out to a comfortable lead. It looks like that's been discovered here by Morgan Stickney. Ella Jones from Australia had a good first 10-15 meters, and looks like Morgan has made up that gap. So just like we've seen in some of the other heats of this race, watching what they do in the first 50, the first 100, really doesn't tell the story of how they're going to finish. If you watch the more efficient swimmers that are staying within reach of the lead, or someone that they're close to, may be able to come up in that last 100 or 75 meters and overtake somebody who's led them the whole race. Got Morgan Stickney holding on to her lead and really making a big move away from the heat there. Now we've got a little bit of a race shaping up at the two athletes behind her with Jessica Long and Ella Jones. Jessica's swimming with a very efficient looking freestyle. She just recently got out of her first race, so she may be conserving energy for tomorrow, or she's just happy enough with her morning swim and just wanted to get in and get another swim in, either to change up some splits or strategy, or possibly see if she can swim a little bit, hold a little bit back, and maybe get in a good race situation with somebody. Morgan Stickney there, though, like we talked about Mackenzie Cohn in that last heat, she's going to say never say die, I think, on this race. She's out in 2:21.6, which puts her, if she swims the perfect race going out 2:21.6, she should be just at, possibly a little faster than she swam this morning. With the multi-sport classes this morning, she had a little different competition because she had some people from a higher sport class that she was racing that pressed her, pushed her to go a little bit faster than maybe she even planned. Jessica now is taking care of that race opportunity. She's picked up her tempo a little bit. Ella Jones from Australia over there. This is, I think that's Paola Nunez. Paola was using a pretty strong kick for this early in the race. Very respectable thing to do. We've got Morgan and Jessica there behind her, but that's probably an insurmountable lead that Morgan has built. She's at 3:33 at this point. With just 100 to go, she's in for quite a good swim. Jessica was out 2:20 this morning, went 4:44, which, if you remember that big amazed smile, she wasn't even sure she went that fast this morning right after the race. There's Ella Jones from Australia at her 300 turn. She was at 4:02 there at the 300, almost 4:03. But Morgan's going to go away with this one. She doesn't have anybody within 30, almost 40 meters of her. Again, she was 4:47 this morning. Going to be pretty close to that here. But I think she's going to go a best time, get under that. She comes in at 4:43.70. She's going to be happy with that, but boy, every bit of that time drop was earned, and you can see it in the red face, neck, and shoulders. That's blood that wants to keep moving. So hopefully she gets over and gets a good warm down to get that out. Jessica Long coming in here at 5:05.4. So I did have an opportunity to talk to Jess before her final session tonight, and I congratulated her on a great swim, and she said, yeah, I'm probably not going to see that tonight. Really happy with this morning's swim. And she lived right up to that plan, and she had a good solid swim. She split it well, but she didn't want to put the hammer down a second time in that race today. Again, we had some pretty good races behind first place in that one. And now we have Sarah Miranda Corrales from Costa Rica. She's got 50 meters to go here. She's holding a good fast stroke tempo, and you can see she's made a move on herself there by turning on her stroke tempo. When you only have about 50 meters left and it's hurting either way, why not turn on your stroke tempo and get up there to an even better time than you did this morning? She was 6:34.4 this morning. I think she's going to be a little bit off of that time. She's got 15 meters to go. Looks like 6:34 is just about to pass by. She had a much better first half this morning as far as her speed. But again, you never know what their and their coach's strategy may be swimming this a second time. In lane 8 there, 6:44.8 for Miranda. Heat 5. Our next final this evening is the S9 sport class, the women's 400-meter freestyle. Swimming in lane 1 from the United States, Mimi White. Swimming in lane 2 from the United States, Keegan Knott. Swimming in lane 3 from the United States, Kelly Prochaska. Swimming in lane 4, also from the United States, Summer Schmidt. In lane 5, Natalie Sims from the United States. In lane 6, Alicia Crook from the United States. Lane 7, Elise Morley from the United States. And from Mexico in lane 8, Carla Licona Juarez. This is the women's 400-meter freestyle final, sport class S9. I could have been right either way. Amanda Sims swims. Had that multiple whistles that calls them up towards the blocks. They start to get ready, and then the long whistle is their cue to get in their starting position on the block. 5:02 from Summer Schmidt this morning. She's our fastest qualifier for this final. She's out there in lane 4. But you never know what people were doing this morning. They may have been holding back for this race because this is a full heat in the S9 sport class. Looks like Natalie Sims is pressing. The whole heat nearly the whole heat staying together here early. Again, things to look for what may happen later in the race. If somebody's got a shorter stroke and a faster tempo, they might be spending a little too much energy early. If they've got a long stroke and a slower tempo, they're conserving a little energy but won't have the speed that they want right now. See somebody with a long stroke and a fast tempo, that's pretty dangerous in the 400 freestyle. That's somebody that's swimming fast and efficiently. We see Summer Schmidt there with a 1:11.20. On pace to be at or just under her time from this morning, which was 5:02.6. Start to see the heat start to spread out a little bit. You see some new races forming as Natalie Sims tries to not let Summer get away. And then over in you see Alyssa Crook and Elise Morley over in 6 and 7 who are trying to stay together. Same thing happening there in 2 and 3 with Keegan and Callie. Mimi White in lane 1 there. She was 5:31 this morning. She's actually on pace right around that time. Looking at the math and looking at the stroke that she's giving. Summer Schmidt's holding on to her lead. Coming into the 200 here, Summer Schmidt is 2:27.9. Natalie Sims behind her, 2:30.17. Outstanding efforts here. Looks like they're certainly on pace to go faster than they did this morning. They're also in a great race situation. They all can see the person next to them, which keeps each person going fast. Nobody wants to be the one that falls back. There's Elise Morley over in lane 7. She's probably fighting the hardest if she's paying close attention, so she doesn't let anybody get too far away from her. She's also doing it with a pretty long stroke and a good solid tempo. So if she could keep that up and then get a little increase at the end, she could change her position in that last 150 meters. Summer Schmidt widening the gap, and then we've got a new race forming here for second with Callie and Natalie. Callie's moved up a bit on Natalie. Summer's 3:44.6 with 100 to go. There's Callie, who made a move on Natalie Sims, and looks like it's paying off. Those two are really fighting hard for this second position. And now we've got a great race in 2 and 6. Yeah, we get to see all this, so we can Monday morning quarterback the race all day long. But they're out there just working their legs off. Summer holding on to that lead. Summer Schmidt, she's probably 10 to 15 meters ahead of that race for second place. Again, Summer Schmidt this morning was 5:02.6. We'll see where she's going to be tonight. She's got about 4 meters to go here. And she goes 5:00:15, little over 2.5 seconds faster than she swam this morning. And looks like Callie did overtake Natalie there in that last 5 or 6 meters. Just outstanding racing from these women in this S9 sport class here in Lewisville tonight. World Para Swimming World Series. Great swimming, great camaraderie. Looked like before, during, and after that race. The fact that you can finish your race and pick up your conversation probably right where you left it off in the ready room. Now we've got Juarez coming in there from Mexico in lane 8. She was 5:41 this morning. She's 5:44 here in the finals. Great swimming. Heat 6. Our next heat is a multi-class event. Sport class S10, S11, and S12 and 13 in the 400-meter freestyle finals. In lane 1 from Mexico, Brianna Espinoza Mata. In lane 2, Silvana Moreno Lopez, also from Mexico. In lane 4 in the S11 sport class, Anastasia Pagones from the United States. In lane 5, McLean Hermes from the United States. In lane 7, Becca Myers in the S12 sport class from the United States. And also from the United States in the S13 sport class, Madeline Babcock. This is your women's 400-meter freestyle multi-class final. This is the longest event in the Paralympic event list. You see where Becca Myers there is watching for that flash for her start. So you never know what you're going to see when you have 3 or 4 different sport classes going on. You've got a gold medalist from Rio in her sport class there in lane 7. That's Becca Myers. Becca swims with the Nation's Capital Swim Club in the Washington, D.C. area. Born and bred in that area. She just sticks with it, keeps it up, keeps getting better. She and her team have an incredible commitment to each other. She's heading now into her first 100 split. See where she is based on this morning's swim. She's over there in lane 7. She's at 105.7, I believe. She was 4:33 this morning. So she's really, she swam this morning. She was almost 30 seconds faster than the rest of this heat this morning. So there was a little domino effect that happened this morning where a lot of the U.S. women were having early in the heats, were having a great race, and then the next heat somebody wanted to step up, and the next heat somebody wanted to step up. So we had some great swims in the 400 freestyle turned in this morning. The hard part's coming back and matching and beating those great surprise swims that you put out in the morning. See, Becca looks like she's in good control. She's doing a whole lot more work than it looks like for those of us that are sitting watching this. This is Silvana Lopez from Mexico. You can see she's got a very strong pull. She doesn't hold out in front very long, but she gets right into the power of her stroke. Looks like Becca is 2:16 halfway setting herself up for something that could be faster than this morning. 32 would be an even split, but you're rarely going to see that at this level. But she could be within a couple seconds. That's Anastasia in lane 4. She was 5:08 this morning. But it looks like Becca's really putting the hammer down in this race. 2:51 there at the 250. Not as many races developing within this heat as we see when the sport class is the same all the way across the heat. But there's McLean Hermes. She grew up swimming for Dynamo Swim Club in Atlanta, Georgia. She gets that tap just on her back there right before it's time to turn. She's in the visually impaired sport class. You can see that she'll also swim a little closer to the lane line than some. That's probably how she trains, so that she keeps that freestyle there. She may have heard me there. She bumped herself over to the middle of the lane. Becca again is dominating the heat, but we're going to have 3 or 4 golds put out in this heat because we've got multiple sport classes. You know, if she's got somebody close to her, you see those waves that come off of her hips, and then there's a couple of more waves behind there. You would want to swim right inside of those waves if you're swimming next to Becca. She would probably move over if she saw you doing that, but you get in those little eddy currents behind her, and you can take a ride. Here she comes in with about 5 meters left. Again, she was 4:33 this morning. She's 4:37. A little bit off. Certainly wasn't off in effort. She really put it out there. Great swim for Becca. Got a race here in these last 5 meters in lanes 2 and 4. Looks like Anastasia came in a little bit earlier there at 5:03.30 to 5:03.6. Here comes McLean Hermes. She's got about 10 meters to go. You can see her tapper is getting ready to let her know that she's within a stroke of the finish. And she gets a fantastic finish there. Great long stroke finish for McLean. Over in lane 8, Madeline Babcock from New England. Got about 15 meters to go here. She was 5:56 this morning, and she's going to be pretty close to that, maybe just a little over. She's got 5 meters to go here. She goes under the flags, gets that tap for the finish, and has a nice finish on her side there. Body's always longest when you're reaching on your side. That was a great finish for her. That's it for the women's 400 freestyle. We're going to call out our first heat of men now. Our next race is the men's 400 meter freestyle. This first heat will have multiple classes, S9, S10, and S12. Swimming for the United States in lane 2, Jack O'Neill. In lane 4, Owen McNear from the United States. And from the United States in lane 6, Evan Wilkerson. This is the men's 400 meter freestyle multi-class final. Get some blood flowing there in the upper body. Yeah, Jack O'Neill's definitely got some blood flowing from those hard blows to the chest. He's already sporting some red skin before he even starts the race. That was Evan Wilkerson standing there from Wave, waiting for the start. These guys get up and away pretty fast. You can see the intention of who's really up to race, and I can tell you it looks like it's all three of them. Pretty fast tempo there in the middle of the pool with Owen McNair's giving us. So he's not getting a long reach out in front, which would be a little more efficient, but it looks like Owen came to race, not to be efficient tonight. It's always a good trade-off at the right time. These two are shaping up to have a pretty decent race. They were both in the 450s this morning. Owen was 458, and Jack over in lane 2 was 454. Here's Jack. So they were just about 4 seconds apart in the preliminaries. May or may not have been in the same heats, but they're turning pretty close. Looks like Jack took a little bit of a lead there. They're both at 109. So there's Evan out in lane 6, taking advantage of that great long body length and arm length that he's got, just holding everything out in front. These guys are going neck and neck now, and they're only 4 seconds apart this morning. So, and again, who knows what the strategy was this morning? Was Jack holding back and he's come to go a little bit bigger this evening, or is Owen got him on the rope-a-dope, waiting to make his move? Holding that stroke speed just like he started off the block, so it's probably something that he can do for the entire race. If you can make it this far doing that, you're probably training at that stroke tempo. Jack's holding a little bit longer stroke. We see some young kids watching this, and they saw Jack slapping his skin before that race, and then he takes a good race. We might see some people trying to mimic that, but I can tell you a lot of this comes from Jack's hard work. He swims at Pikes Peak Aquatics in Colorado Springs, a relatively new team on the scene, but they're doing big things in that town. Looks like Owen's lengthened out a little bit with his stroke. He's gotten quite a bit more efficient in this 50. Jack's holding that lead. Just a couple, look, about a meter away from each other. There's Jack. He's swimming with a little bit of a low head position, which is pretty efficient if you can hold it like that. There's a trade-off there, as you may have to reach a little bit more with your chin and your face to get that breath when your head's low like that, where you can see Owen here swimming a little bit higher head position, a little bit quicker to the breath. Jack turns there in 3:39.2 with 100 to go. Owen just behind him at 3:42.8. Jack's having just a good, strong swim here. I don't think Owen's going to be able to challenge him. These guys are in different sport classes, though. So, but anytime you get an opportunity to race, you got to take advantage of it. Here's Evan over in lane 6. Evan is in the S12 sport class. Certainly takes advantage of that long body length that he's got there. He's got a little pause. You can see he's holding his breath between breaths, and it takes a little bit longer to take the breath if you have to exhale and inhale. There's Jack coming in, about 15 meters to go. Again, Jack was 454 this morning. He's going to be just on or just under. He's 453 too, so he goes even faster than he did this morning. Certainly earned that swim. Owen was 4:58 this morning. 5:00, almost flat tonight. Certainly great efforts out of both of these young guys. They're just 14 and 15. Or I'm sorry, 15 and 18. Jack's 18. Evan Wilkerson over in lane 6 is just 14 years old. Swimming at this international competition, World Paraswimming World Series here in Lewisville, Texas. Evan hits the wall there. It's like 5:26, which is quite a bit faster, 11 seconds faster than he swam this morning. As we come up on heat 2. Up next is heat 2 of the men's 400-meter freestyle. This is the S6 sport class. In lane 2 from the United States, Stefan Machak. In lane 3, Connor Giuffreda from the United States. In lane 4 from Mexico, Juan Gutierrez Bermudez. In lane 5, Raul Gutierrez Bermudez, also from Mexico. And in lane 6, Morgan Ray from the United States. This is the sport class S6 400-meter freestyle final. Had the multiple whistles to get up to the blocks. And then that long whistle there calls them up on the blocks. That's if they're going in the water, that's their cue to get in or start from the deck. These athletes have the choice of any of those three. Stefan takes advantage of his opportunity to start from in the water. We have an entire heat in a single sport class directly from the IPC, International Paralympic Committee's classification information. An S6 swimmer. This sport class includes swimmers that are short of stature or have amputations of both arm or moderate coordination problems on one side of their body. So even within the sport class, there are multiple levels of ability. There's Steven there in lane 2. Looks like he's got a nice long stroke out in front. See, he holds an arm a little bit out for just a second. That helps him balance his body out in front. If he were to shorten that stroke up, you'd see his hips drop a little bit. So this is a very intelligent way to swim the freestyle. Here's Connor Giuffreda. Swims with the U.S. resident team at the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. Swimmers with a little bit shorter of stature, you'll see a little bit of higher stroke tempo. You remember Evan was swimming with a very long freestyle in that last heat. See a little bit higher tempo here. This is Morgan Ray. He swims for the Bulls Sharks in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a long and storied program of putting people on the Olympic team from the U.S. and from various countries. I'm sure he's working hard to live up to that great reputation. See, there's pretty clear leadership in this race with probably about 10 meters separating them all. These are 19 and 20-year-old brothers from Mexico, Juan and Raul Gutierrez Bermudez. I'm sure there's no rivalry there. Growing up with three brothers myself, I know there's a rivalry there. You can see that it's shaping up to be a good race in the car home tonight. Get some bragging rights here. They're just 19 and 20 years old, so it's just a year that separates them. Connor from the resident team here in lane 3, holding that tempo, that nice fast tempo. He's got a good solid kick behind him. You can see that bubbling water over his feet. That means that he's got a pretty efficient kick. And then Juan Bermudez from Mexico in lane 4. He and his brother has got those sugar skull caps. Great looking swim cap. And then his brother Raul there, probably about 15, almost 20 meters behind him, swimming with a little bit faster tempo. So they either swim with very different freestyles, or he's looking at his younger brother saying, wait a minute, that's not how this is supposed to go. His split there was 3:57.9. Checking in here on Morgan as he comes in with about 5 meters to go before his next turn here at the start end of the pool. 4:21.46 as his 300 split. Just got a little under 100 left to go. You can see there's a lot of separation between all of these guys. Stephen Machek over in lane 2 swims for Loyola University. Loyola University has contributed more than most to the US Paralympic team in recent years. We got Juan coming in to his finish with about 5 meters to go. He was 5:09.6 this morning, 5:08.5, so he's certainly beaten that. His brother was 5:19.2 coming in behind him here, and it looks like he's going to be right on top of his time from this morning, 5:19.2. Actually, 5:19.29. He was 200ths faster this morning. So there's the brothers Bermudez from Mexico, an up-and-coming force in Paralympic swimming. Lane 3, there's Connor Giuffreda, 5:34.35. He was 5:32 this morning. He's a little bit faster this morning. Here's Morgan. He's got about 5 meters here left. He turned up his tempo a little bit there. 5:51 for Morgan. Stephen Machek from Loyola finishing his 400 freestyle there, 6:06.52. He was 6:18 this morning, so a great big improvement for him. Heat 3. Our next event is the men's 400-meter freestyle. This is a multi-class heat with S7, S8, and S9 sport classes represented. In lane 1 from the United States, Trevor Tucci. In lane 2 from the United States, Evan Austin. In lane 4 from the United States, Matthew Torres. Cody McCaslin in lane 5, also from the United States. And from Costa Rica in the S9 sport class, in lane 7, Esteban Zamora. These guys getting themselves prepared to go. Various items beyond towels at a Paralympic meet going into your bag. Could be a prosthetic leg or the fitting for that prosthetic, as you saw there. We got Trevor here ready to get in. I believe he starts from inside the water, so he gets that long whistle, and the other guys get up on the block, and Trevor gets in. Esteban Zamora here, using that track start wedge. Everybody gets away in a pretty fair start. They've got 400 meters to even out that start imbalance. Now we'll see how this goes. Evan Austin there in that John Purdue Boilermaker cap. He lives and trains at Purdue University, even contributing to the coaching at Purdue. He's a great team leader of Team USA in the past and certainly present and future. Evan Austin. Evan's one of those guys you want on your team. Even if Evan's having a bad day, you'll never know it, and he'll encourage you the whole practice. Matthew Torres over in 4 there, giving Evan some good challenge. Of course, they're in different sport classes, but like I said before, you get some rivalries between sport classes, and you also get some great competition when they have an opportunity to race each other. Evan swimming with a nice long, little bit loping freestyle. A little longer on one side than the other side. I'm sure he'll be happy to play this back and hear me saying that. Matthew Torres next to him there. Cody McCaslin from Austin College here in North Texas, actually, is the local swimming committee. Austin certainly isn't in the north of Texas, but that's what they call themselves. Matthews giving Evan all he wants. You can see Evan's really staying in control with that long, efficient freestyle. Got very minimal use. Evan has very minimal use in his lower limbs. So you can see that there's a little bit more kicking going on behind Matthew. So the great equalizer is going to be probably Evan's efficiency early in the race. Looks like Matthew is starting to make a tempo move like I've talked about. He swam with a little longer tempo early. You can see him trying to pick things up with both his foot speed and his upper body tempo. There's Esteban Zamora from Costa Rica over in lane 7, also swimming with a very long and efficient freestyle. Very balanced across the surface of the water there. Matthews taking a lead on Evan. Evan's either letting him do it, keeping an eye on him, thinking he can get back up on him, or Evan is just paying attention to Evan right now, swimming his own race. Matthews out 3:30 at 300. I'm sorry, 3:27 at the 300. Evans at 3:30.5. If Evan wants to make a move on Matthew, his window is closing. He's got to do that pretty soon if he wants that to happen. You can see he's made a slight tempo change. Evan there in lane 2. Trevor Tucci holding on to that very long stroke there, coming towards us in lane 1. And Esteban there on top of the screen over in 7 is holding his rate. Here's Trevor. Swims for Olivet Nazarene in Illinois, in the Chicago suburban area. Holding that nice long stroke there out in front. Helps him balance off his lower body. You got Matthew here. Wasn't going to let Austin come up on him. He went 4:30.07 this morning. Both of these guys are off that pace. And he's 4:38.77 tonight, and Evan comes in at 4:42.28. Both of them a little bit off what they did this morning. Evan was not off of anything that he did this morning. He was 5:12 this morning and just went 4:42. And that's the difference when you see these multi-sport class heats. Evan just absolutely destroyed the swim that he did this morning. He was 5:12 this morning. 4:42 tonight. I think he's happy. I think he's going to go ahead and be pleased with that swim. Let out a good belting scream, and he's certainly got a ton of work behind races like that. He's just gone through the conference and NC2A process in helping coach with the Purdue women, and this is his turn, and boy did he just put it out there in the 400 freestyle. Cody McCaslin from Austin College, he went 6:04 this morning. He's coming in with about 5 meters to go, a little over 5 meters. See the color change on the lane lines there is my cue for 5 meters left. He was 6:04 this morning. He hits at 6:00, so he's 4 seconds faster. Trevor was 6:09 this morning, 6:05 tonight. Just outstanding swims all the way across the pool there. We've got Esteban Zamora over in lane 7 from Costa Rica is a swimmer that we have left here. He's mid-pool at this point. He's got about a little less than 20 meters left in this swim. Esteban was 6:45 this morning, so he's on track to probably be just at, maybe a little above that. It's 10 seconds from there right now. Passes under the flags. And he proves me wrong, which I love when that happens, at 6:44, a little bit faster than he was this morning. Heat 4. Approaching the blocks is our final 400-meter freestyle final of the evening. This is Heat 4. The S10 sport class 400-meter freestyle final. In lane 3, Yassine El Demirdash from the United States. In lane 4, Thomas Gallagher from Australia. In lane 5, Rowan Carruthers from Australia. In lane 6, Yahir Perez Jimenez from Mexico. This is the 400-meter men's final S10 sport class. All right, watch the Australians get right out in front of this heat. It's a very typical thing that you could watch. And I can tell you, Yassine's having none of that. He's matching that effort. That's Rowan Carruthers next to him. I'm sorry, it's Thomas Gallagher next to him. Rowan Carruthers is over in lane 5. There's a pretty big separation of these 4 swimmers this morning in the prelims. Thomas Gallagher was 4:14 to Rowan Carruthers 4:26. Yassine went 4:41, so I think you're going to see Yassine go quite a bit faster if he's going out with these guys that went quite a bit faster than him this morning. That's Thomas Gallagher out in 1 minute point 61. Certainly faster than he went out this morning in his 4:14 400 freestyle. Rowan Carruthers is holding a much more efficient freestyle than he did this morning. We'll see if that pays off in his second half, or he was happy with his morning swim and just wanted to get some race experience tonight. There's Yahir Perez Jimenez from Mexico over in lane 6, turning at the 150. He's at 144 at the 150 there. holding a very nice, long, methodical stroke. See, he just kind of holding that stroke tempo and stroke length. Halfway there for Thomas Gallagher. 2:04. He keeps up this pace with just maybe a little drop off in this third 100. Doesn't look like he's dropping anywhere though. He should be able to be under 4:14 that he went this morning. Yassine is getting some good pacing by Rowan over there from Australia in lane 5. Those two were 15-20 seconds away from each other this morning. They're kind of swimming back and forth. You can see Thomas is handling the heat without a problem. He's definitely working hard for this time. It's going to be probably 3:09 or so at the 300. He's got 100 left. His teammate from Australia there in lane 5 about to turn. That's Rowan Carruthers at 3:18. And Yasmin behind him, 3:23. So Yassine is definitely going to go faster than he did this morning. He had some great pacing there by the Australian guys early, and now he's holding his own, holding his pace. Got Thomas Gallagher there turning in his last 50. Rowan Carruthers behind him going into the 3:50 mark. This is Yassine in lane 3 from the Kansas City Blazers. He was 4:41 this morning, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to be faster than that. Thomas Gallagher's got about 15 meters to go here as he passes those lane lines with the little red mark. That's 15 meters from the wall. And then my other little cheat sheet is the color change right there. That means he's got 5 meters. And there he is at 4:13. Little, about a quarter of a second faster than he went this morning. Rowan was 4:26 this morning. He's 4:26 tonight. And Yassine was 4:41 this morning, and a great drop for him at 4:33.91. Here we have Yahir from Mexico. He was 4:48 this morning. 4:44 it looked like. Something very close to 4:44 tonight. Great swim for the final men's 400 freestyle. The next event is event number 18, the women's 50-meter freestyle multi-class. This first heat has multiple classes racing, and in lane 2 is Megan Giaffreda from the United States. In lane 3, Gabby Farinas from the United States. In lane 4, Hannah Sloan from the United States. And also from the United States, Meredith Koch in lane 5. In lane 6, that's Kayla Wapshall from the United States. And Molly Barron in lane 7, also from the United States. This is a multi-class final of the women's 50-meter freestyle. There's 6 heats of this race tonight. We have to get our timers down to the other side of the pool. So there's always a little extra gap here when we're moving the timers from one side of the pool to the other. We keep the start end the same throughout the meet, which is a little bit easier for the athletes to always report to the same place before their races. One less thing to think about, and you got that energy to go to your races. And then you can see behind them there's some plastic bags. At a lot of meets of this stature, they would have volunteer kids from the area with what looks like almost laundry boxes, where the athletes would put their stuff in those boxes and then kids would come along and take those boxes to where the race finishes. In the COVID world we're living in, we're keeping the athletes keeping all their stuff to themselves, so they're issued as many of those bags as they need throughout the meet to put their stuff in. And then we'll have one person who's wearing their PPE is going to grab those bags and take them over to the other side of the pool for those athletes. Good quick fair start here. Unlike the 400 freestyle, you're going to see long stroke and fast tempo in the 50 freestyle. And if the athletes have the ability, you're going to see a very fast, rigorous kick behind them. See a lot of splashing going on near their feet in this race. That looks like Hannah Sloan has taken this heat. But there are multiple medals being awarded in this heat, as we had four different classes represented. Heat 2. This is heat 2 of the women's 50-meter freestyle. This is a multi-class heat, S4 and S11. Swimming in lane 3, Zulfaya Gabidulina from Kazakhstan. In lane 4, Nelly Miranda Herrera from Mexico. Swimming in the S11 sport class from the United States, Anastasia Pagonis. This is our second heat of the women's 50-meter freestyle multi-class. See, the coaches are the athlete's aid. Just giving them a hand, getting them all set. So we have 3 of the many ways to start a race. The coach stabilizing on the wall, an athlete starting with a hand on the gutter there, and another athlete with an aide who may be ready to aid her with her balance. So an official now is clarifying the method that she needs to do her start. Within all the rules of starting a race, there are definite methods that are within the black and white of the rules, and they're just clarifying that she's good to go in the way that they were going to do that. So now she gets her feet set, and you'll see her coach will have that grip on her hand there right until the start. You'll be able to see the flash or hear the horn, and he'll just release and let her get away from the wall on her own. See, there's a great even start of those 2 swimmers both starting in the water from 2 different methods. See Anastasia out there. Right here we've got Zulfaya and Nelly having a pretty darn good race for this 50 freestyle in a completely different sport class. Anastasia Pagonis over there in lane 6. She was 31.79 this morning. She gets that tap, and she's 31.43, it looks like, in this final. All these times that I'm giving you and that you're seeing are unofficial until they're ratified at the administrative table, making sure that the touch pads and the backup times and everything are in line. That was Nelly in first in that S4 category. Heat 3. Heat 3. Swimming in Heat 3, which is an S6 sport class final in the women's 50-meter freestyle. In lane 2, Valeria Lopez Gomez from Mexico. In lane 3, Abby Nardella from the United States. From Colombia, in lane 4, Sarah Vargas Blanco. In lane 5, from Mexico, Diana Trejo Delgadillo. This is Sport Class S6 50 Freestyle Women's Final. So we see them waiting patiently. A lot of times that's the other heat clearing at the other end of the pool. This is business as usual for them. So really nothing stalling here if you're watching a swim meet like this for the first time. There's a whole lot of fast racing and even more patience that these athletes have for the process of the swim meet. So we've got a swimmer starting in the water and a couple from the blocks here. In the S6 category, this sport class includes swimmers with short stature or amputations of both arms or moderate coordination problems on one side of their body. So you see a couple of things happening throughout the swims. And the athletes just bring 100% of their ability and take it to the next wall. This is Sarah Vargas Blanco from Colombia. She was 35.36 this morning. She's 35.09, so she drops a little over a quarter second in that race. That was the third heat, and that was the S6 class. Heat 4. This is the women's 50-meter freestyle S8 sport class. In lane 1, Natalia Gonzalez Guemez from Mexico. In lane 2, Haven Shepard from the United States. In lane 3, from Colombia, Laura Gonzalez Rodriguez. In lane 4, Ella Jones from Australia. In lane 5, from Mexico, Paula Rubalcava Nunez. In lane 6, Alejandra Abiar Diaz from the Dominican Republic. And from Costa Rica, in lane 7, Sarah Corrales Miranda. This is the S8 sport class 50 freestyle final. The S8 finals here, we have our first race with nobody from the United States. We've got a South American battle in the International Paralympic Committee in the sporting world. This is the Battle of the Americas. We have one Australian there in lane 4 representing Oceania as far as the continents go. That's Ella Jones in lane 4. She was 34.1 this morning, fastest by a little over a second. with all these swimmers being classified, they're swimming most of the events because the classifiers need to see them do many of the strokes throughout the meet. So you may see somebody go very fast in the morning, hold back a little bit in the afternoon in the finals to get to a time in the morning or to get classified in the morning, or vice versa. So we really never know what's about to happen here. Ella Jones, though, 34.14 this morning. He's 33.7. Quite a nice improvement. I'm sure she's happy with that. You could tell she's looking around for a coach. She's happy. Gave an extra punch to the wall there. Heat 5. As they make their way to the side, our next heat is a little slow to get released to the blocks. We're looking for the Heat 5 swimmers to be released from the ready room. Heat 5. Here they come. The start list for Heat 5, the women's S10 final in the women's 50-meter freestyle. In lane 1 from Uruguay, Lucia Dabizis. In lane 2, Silvana Lopez Moreno from Mexico. In lane 3, from the United States, Audrey Kim. In lane 4, Jasmine Greenwood from Australia. Also from Australia in lane 5, Kira Steffens. From Mexico in lane 6, Brianna Espinoza Mata. And in lane 7, Guadalupe Carrillo Osorio from Mexico. This is the women's S10 sport class 50-meter freestyle final. Had a little hold up in the ready area for that one. And there is absolutely zero holding back in this 50 freestyle. It looks like Jasmine Greenwood from Australia is gonna not walk away with it, but certainly get there a stroke or two before anyone else. Lane 4, 29.49. She was 29.66. She went a little bit faster than she did this morning. Heat 6. Our next race is the women's 50-meter freestyle S13 class. Swimming in lane 2, Michaela Neitzel from the United States. Swimming in lane 3, Becca Myers from the United States. Swimming in lane 4, Gia Pergolini from the United States. Also from the United States, Martha Ruther swimming in lane 5. In lane 6, Colleen Young from the United States. And from Mexico in lane 7, Valeria Duran Flores. This is the multi-class S12 and 13 50-meter freestyle final. That's all I got. I read the words. I'm a monkey. Becca Myers in this race, normally as an S12, she's swimming up. She's moved up a class to be in this final. It is an S13. So it's multiple class swimmers in the race, but it is an S13 final. Looks like Gia Pergolini swims a Dynamo in Georgia. 28:59. It was 28:30 this morning, a little bit faster. Our next race is the men's 50-meter freestyle. Our first heat will be multi-class S9 and S10. In lane 2, Jack O'Neill in the S9 class from the United States. Swimming in the S10 class, Owen McNear from the United States. Jamal Hill in lane 6, also from the United States. This is the men's multi-class first heat 50-meter freestyle final. Jack O'Neill gets those chest slaps in. I think that's a great pre-race routine. It certainly worked out for him in the 400 freestyle. Jamal Hill out there in the early lead in lane 6. Swims for his own team, which is called Swim Uphill in California, in the Los Angeles area. Our other two guys have a pretty good race going on here. Jamal kind of handles it in lane 6 there with a 25.62, a little bit faster than he went this morning. And then that's a great effort to come in the 50 in the morning, go fast, and then go even faster in the evening. Heat 2. Race, heat 2 of the men's 50-meter freestyle final in the S3 and S4 sport class. In lane 1 from Mexico, Diego Lopez Diaz. In lane 3, Marcos Zarate Rodriguez from Mexico. In lane 4, Jesus Hernandez from Mexico. In lane 5, Jesus Lopez Cervantes from Mexico. And in the S4 class, Jose Castorena Velez. This is a 50-meter freestyle final multi-class. See multiple styles of starting here. You'll see in lane 3, he's going to use a strap here. It's we haven't seen this start yet. It is attached to the side, and his feet are solid on the side of the wall, so that's a legal starting position. And then in lane 2, you'll see he's a coach from Mexico, making sure those feet stay nice and planted on the wall before the start. The S3 and 4. You gotta just make sure that that hand's got contact on the wall there. She can stabilize, but he's just got to have that contact. Whichever start it is that you choose to do, there are rules that need to be followed for how you do that start. So she's just going to keep her hand on top of his hand on the corner of the wall there. That keeps it all legal, and then they can get back to getting the start for all these guys. So we've got another little hold up here. We've got to make sure that everybody's where they're supposed to be. And it is pretty important to be where you're supposed to be. So sometimes there's a little miscommunication that happens before. He's supposed to be swimming in lane 5. So they're going to make sure that he humps over there, get that starting apparatus all set up for him. And if you're watching this stuff for the first time, it seems like, well, why don't they know all this stuff? Well, all these things change a little bit. He was supposed to be in lane 5, or what's the holdup? Just let him go. When there's multiple sport classes, there needs to be that gap lane between them in a final, so that we had to keep lane 6 open. So these guys in the sport class S3 will swim next to each other. We'll have a gap lane, and then Jose over in lane 7 will swim with nobody on either side of him. In the S3 sport class, which is lanes 2 through 5, the sport class includes athletes with amputations of both arms, legs, swimmers with reasonable arm strokes but no use of their legs or trunk, and swimmers with severe coordination problems in all limbs. So it's all encompassing there of amputees and loss of use of limbs and coordination problems through the midsection of the body, the trunk as it's defined. So you see Jose Casarena Velez out there. Looks like he's in the lead over in his own sport class. And then coming up in lane 3, Marcos Zarate Rodriguez from Mexico. Looks like he'll win the S3. 51.89 over in lane 7 for Jose. And Marcos in lane 3 there was 53.09. They finished that heat up. We've got moving on here to heat 3. Heat 3. Music comes up. The men's 50 freestyle, our third heat, is a multi-sport class. Sport class S5 and sport class S7 being contested. In lane 1, Juan Manrique Pineda from Colombia. In lane 2, Abbas Karimi from the Refugee Paralympic team. In lane 4, Trevor Tucci from the United States. In lane 5, Matthew Levy from Australia. And from the United States, Aiden Williams in lane 6. This is a multi-class 50-meter freestyle final. So if you've been watching any of the broadcasts, we've spent a bit of time talking about Abbas Karimi. He's from the Refugee Paralympic team. He's originally born in Afghanistan. They don't field a Paralympic team, but he's a swimmer. So he's being given an opportunity by the International Paralympic Committee to be a part of the Refugee Paralympic team. And I can tell you, it's not something that's been given to him. Watch him race. He's going to have a great swim here. He has medaled in a few international competitions already. So he's going into the Paralympic Games a medal force and a medal hope. the chef de mission, or the person in charge of that team, is Ileana Rodriguez from the United States. She was a Paralympian that swam for the United States, now a retired athlete and active architect. She was a great architect for that team as well. You see Karimi goes out, gets all that underwater dolphin kick, commanding lead in his sport class. Trevor is going to try to get up on him there in the middle of the pool. Looks like Matthew Levy from Australia is got a commanding lead on the heat. He was 29.52 this morning. We'll see what he does here. 29.4, so he goes faster than this morning. You've got Abbas Karimi from the Refugee Paralympic team coming right in, and finishes with the top of his head there in all of his events. That's his leading edge. He was 38.64 this morning, and he is 38.47, so he goes a little bit faster in the 50 freestyle tonight. Heat 4. Heat 4 is the S9 sport class final for the 50 freestyle. In lane 2, Rodrigo Hermosa from Paraguay. In lane 3, from Costa Rica, Esteban Zamora. In lane 4, Timothy Diskin from Australia. In lane 5, William Martin from Australia. And from Barbados in lane 6, Antoine Boyce Vaughn. This is the S9 sport class, men's 50 free final. These guys performing their pre-race routines, whether that's that last little goggle check, keep those leg muscles warmed up. A couple of slaps there as they await that last long whistle before they can step up on the blocks. Looks like the previous heat is just finishing clearing out, so they want to give them plenty of time. There's our long whistle for the start. And again, you've got multiple methods of starting. Some are going to use that wedge on their back foot. Some are going to go from the deck. I'll get away pretty fast. Timothy Diskin from Australia was the fastest qualifier, 26:10 this morning. Looks like he's going to handle the heat, but he's got a teammate, William Martin, right next to him that went 26:88. Good race for these two guys. Again, Timothy was 26:10 this morning. Goes 25:7 tonight, 25:9 out of his teammate William Martin. These guys from Australia really came to race well in that 50 freestyle and did not disappoint. Brings us to our last two heats of the evening. Heat 5. Our next heat is the S10 sport class, men's 50-meter freestyle final. In lane 3 from the United States, Ty Dutcher. In lane 4 from Australia, Rowan Crothers. In lane 5 from Australia, Thomas Gallagher. In lane 6 from the United States, Yassine Demirdash. And in lane 7 from Mexico, Cesar Guerrero Fonseca. This is the men's S10 sport class 50-meter freestyle final. So this is where we saw some 24s, 25s, and 26s this morning. We'll see what happens tonight. They all look pretty jazzed, probably for a bunch of reasons. Kind of everybody loves to swim the 50. Really like to step it up for the final. It's also their last race of the night. individually. Rowan Carruthers was 24:47 this morning, and his teammate Thomas Gallagher was 25:55. You just see that long stroke. As long as you can keep your stroke with that as fast a tempo as you can keep it, and just a monstrous kick behind you. And that's Rowan tonight with 24:26. He's about a quarter of a second faster than he was this morning. Obviously, he's happy with that. Congratulating his competitors. Always feels good when that happens, whether they're your teammates or they're your competition. Great stuff happening in the pool here. Heat 6. Approaching the blocks is our final heat of the evening. This is the men's 50-meter freestyle S13 class. In lane 2, Nurali Sovetkanov from Kazakhstan. In lane 3, Nuradale Zumgali from Kazakhstan. In lane 4, from the United States, David Abrams. In lane 5, Diego Cuesta Martinez from Colombia. And in lane 6, from the United States, William Rankine. This is the men's 50-meter freestyle sport class S13 final. You can see somebody in lane 3 has their trainer with them. When you see those round circles, he's getting that cup therapy in his recovery from his races. Okay, our last race tonight, we had these guys all went 26s and 27s this morning, so it's really anybody's race. And you usually see in the 50 freestyle, whoever can keep their body the longest with the longest stroke and the fastest tempo and the fastest kick, and probably eliminating breathing to that last 15 to 20 meters. Looks like lane 3, 26-23. He'll be happy with that. That's Nurdole from Kazakhstan. A little bit faster than this morning. This concludes our racing for today at the World Para Swimming World Series in Lewisville. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Toyota and BP, and certainly our host, the United States Paralympic Swimming and the US OPC. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. Thanks for watching.
Oh, great. The show's starting.
Come on. Just trust me. Oh, trust you, like with the dollar oysters.
I don't think those were oysters.
You survived, so...
Wait, we can't go that way.
Watch this. They'll think we're VIP.
Wow. He does think we're VIP.
And backstage. Trust me now?
I never doubted you.
I did for a second, but it's gone now. I trust
The
you.
all-new Sienna. Toyota, let's go places.
Check out this one. Long hair, loves to hike and plays frisbee.
What is he, a Labrador?
So should I meet him?
You're not that adventurous.
Yes, I am. Try me.
Okay. Jump into that lake.
I'll do it.
Let's all do it. I'm in. This is crazy. You coming?
Seriously? It is way too comfortable in here.
It's freezing.
The all-new Sienna. Toyota, let's go places.